playing against players who are going to do that, then, you know, you're not as, it's not really as incumbent upon you to do that. And so Addy there makes the choice to go ahead and check back, which I think is a sound choice. And I think this is another thing for, again, people out there in the chat looking to improve their poker game is, you know, aggression is good. Betting and raising when you can is good. And generally, when you're in situations that you can sort of bet frequently, that's a good thing. But it's also part of the game is determining how you make money when you check, how to generate EV through checking, right? Can we induce our opponent to bet stronger hands? Are there situations where we're sort of incentivized to let our opponent catch up? You know, fast playing is important, but so is checking. And not just checking very strong hands, but knowing when to check sort of middling hands or when to check very weak hands. You know, that is part of optimum winning strategy, and it's worth learning how that can add EV to your game.
Here's an interesting situation after Patrick, understandably raising with 2 jiggities. Colin flops the world with Queen 8 suited, flopping trips. And now he's got a $5,000 stack, and let's see if we can milk a little more out of Patrick.
So Patrick limp calls pre-flop and then goes for the raise on this board.
Basically click it to 900.
Now the click is an interesting decision because when you limp call, right, you imagine you're going to have a fairly wide range. So you're going to have a lot of hands like 7s, 6s, you know, ace deuce, maybe those middling type hands. But you're not necessarily going to want to raise those at this stack depth. And so when you raise on a board like this, what you're saying is you basically have, you know, 8s or, you know, an 8 or some kind of flush draw. And now notably, even the flush draws get there on the turn.
Patrick with the jack of spades facing an all-in from Colin. And it's the second time Colin's done this. Is kind of, you know, put the max out there when he had a big value hand, and Patrick wants to find a call. He's got an overpair and jack of spades. He's just very unsure about the line that Colin has taken. So Patrick probably thinking, like, did this guy just flop the joint on me? Why is he playing this so fast?
Right. And if I'm in Patrick's shoes now, I begin to sit here and think, okay, my opponent limped pre-flop, called my raise, check raised me on the flop, and now is jamming this turn. And that's going to affect basically the sort of hands that he's going to have in this situation. You know, how do I think Colin is playing? You know, what do I think his raise on the flop means? If I called on the flop with a hand like pocket jacks and he goes ahead and calls.
Biggest pot of the night so far, 11,000.
Looks like it.
8 quads.
And Colin finds the last 8 in the deck.
Pretty nice situation for Colin there, getting the full double, $11,000 pot. Flopping trips with Queen 8 suited, Bink City. Joseph